there we go.
Hello and welcome to Bingewatch and Friends. I'm Diana Brown. With me is
Dan Wilson, and together we are, of course,
Bingewatch.
Bingewatch.
Yes. Thank you so much for those of you who are tuning in with us live as we record this episode. Thank you for being part of our virtual live studio audience. And for those watching this show at a later time, thank you so much. I'd also like to give a shout out to our production and stream manager, Stacy Marshall. Yes, let's hear it for her. Thank you so much. Dan, how you doing tonight?
I am doing really well. I'm really excited to see our guest tonight, and excited to play with you, and do that magical improv thing because we don't know what we're going to be doing just
No
yet.
idea. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. Also, if you love that, please do all the YouTube things like, subscribe, put comments in the chat, boost the algorithm, do all that kind of stuff. And if you love what we do here, please check out our Patreon, patreon.com, look up Binge Watch Improv, and you can get little goodies, you can catch rehearsal shows, you get announcements of shows, all the good stuff available to you there. Business, business, business. This is the online version of Look at the Exits.
We call this a curtain speech. We are thrilled with our guests this evening. We saw these beautiful human beings perform twice at the Wasatch Improv Festival back in early 2020, back in the before times, and recently at Wasatch Virtual Improv Festival. Equally amazing. If you aren't familiar with their form, you know what it's like, Dan, when you go, I want to know about something, and you start to look it up on the internet, and then you just go down that rabbit hole of one thing leads you to another thing, leads you to another thing. These amazing improvisers are like a living, breathing Wikipedia. Thus the name, Witty.
Wittypedia, indeed.
That's right.
So, as a matter of fact, we've got a few things, I think, in the chat possibly of possible places where they might start.
Yes. One person would like to know about the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. Something else that was asked was, I know the one I'm going to pick, but I'm going to wait until they come on and I'll tell them which one it is.
Alrighty. Well, in that case, I don't see any particular reason to delay.
Let's get to the improv. And
Let's
so
see.
without further
Amazing.
ado, please enjoy Wittypedia. Woo!
Everyone.
Yes!
We are Wittypedia. I am Michael Wittry, joined by Amanda Hardin, Austin Vaughn Johnson, Ian Williams, Sonia Kuhn, and Karen Manthe. We are scholar comedians coming to you from Boise tonight, ready to edutain. And as Diana told you, we begin our show by looking things up on the internet to make sure that your comedy is full of absolutely true facts tonight. And Diana, what will we be edutaining our audience about this evening?
Your audience would like to know about clams.
Clams? Well, I know that they're great, but I'm sure that there are other show. Clam is a common name for several kinds of bivalve mollusks. The word is often applied only to those that are edible and live as infauna, spending most of their lives halfway buried in the sand of the seashore or riverbeds. Other clams spend most of their lives as outfauna. The division between infauna and outfauna happens at an early age, in which clams that are unable to develop social skills become ostracized from the other clams and become outfauna. They start hanging out with the wrong crowd, often into things like cigarette smoking or vandalism, and eventually find themselves thrown ashore by the other clams. While many people believe that clams that wash up on shore just are carried there by the ocean currents, that's actually a myth. The clams that are put there are the ones that are hurled out of clam society for being losers and failures.
Related article, The Great Clam Suit of 1964. The Great Clam Suit of 1964 was a lawsuit in which multiple people banded together and sued many different fishing farmers because their children ate out-fawned clams and started smoking and hanging out with the wrong crowds and doing drugs. And they felt like this was attributed because of the clam society ostracization. Unfortunately,
Related article, Clams Up. Clams Up was developed in 1967 after the Great Clam Debacle of 1964. The suit provided clams to all of the legal defendants and instead of actual payment. Trying to figure out how to use the clams, this Heinz 57 decided this might be a good opportunity to use Clams Up instead of ketchup. This was very popular in New Orleans, but nowhere else in America, and it failed miserably. Clams Up can now only be obtained via Amazon or
Google search for stuff that's super popular in New Orleans, but nowhere else in the country.
Congratulations. You just won yourself a year's supply of free King's cake.
That sounds like a scam. No, I'm not scrolling past that.
Enjoy your season's tickets to the New Orleans Saints.
You know what? I like the Saints.
So you're thinking of becoming a New Orleans Saints fan. Well, I hope you're ready for failure, because that's the best part of being a football fan. You may remember when you got hosed out of going to the NFC Championship by two receivers crashing into each other, leading to the Vikings going to the championship. You may remember when the referees hosed us out of going to the Super Bowl in favor of Jared Goff and the Rams. Well, we have years and years and years of football-related disappointment coming up ahead.
Related article, Get Hosed. Get Hosed is a very controversial calendar series which depicted firemen in pantyhose. They felt like the play on words because they were firemen was going to be clever. Unfortunately, this caused a lot of issues because they did not get the proper rights from the pantyhose companies to feature said clothing. And so the pantyhose companies sued the fire people.
Related article, Hose Issues. Hose Issues was a dance move that originated in the 70s in which people would pretend to have issues with their hose when it's all kinked up and make the
discussion forum. Okay. Wikipedia is a reference source for families, and we do not need to have people writing about kinked up hose.
Oh, seriously, this argument again? Come on.
Well, my kids have just been given an iPad for remote school, and they're limited to looking things up on Wikipedia. And what do? The first thing they do is look up fart. Okay? Kids are naughty. They want to see all these naughty things, and they should stay off of Wikipedia.
Are you familiar with freedom of speech?
Are you familiar with freedom of kinked up hoses?
Exactly. I think that makes a good point. Related article, Hosiers. Hosiers was a female basketball team that wanted to, it was a spin-off movie of a female basketball team that wore pantyhose, and they wanted to have this, an equal opportunity for women to enjoy a movie just like Hoosiers, but Hosiers did not do well in the box office. In fact, they ended up owing money at the end because of such a poor attendance, and they went into the hole with a $230 million budget. And Hosiers.
Related article, Hosier closures. Hosier closures happened during the 2008 economic disaster, where the popular basketball team, the Hosiers, closured. This caused a lot of riots and rebellion because of all the fame that the Hosiers had gathered. People were going to the streets wanting to reopen the closured Hosiers, but the team's management wasn't having it because they had already sold off the assets and ran off with the money. Because of that, many of their homes got bombarded with all of these rebellion people.
Disambiguation. Hoser Clothier. Hoser Clothier is the most popular clothing store in northern Canada. It sells all the clothes that you would need to wear in order to head out in a Canadian winter, mostly snowshoes. Although they also have a fine selection of toques. An attempt to expand into the United States was very successful with a store in Buffalo.
Related article, Mostly Snowshoes. Mostly Snowshoes was a magazine that catered to people who had foot fetishes and also lived in cold climates. Mostly Snowshoes.
Tinder search for a man who likes good feet.
Hello. My name is Todwick, and I'm specifically looking for a size 13 and a half or larger in a female.
Swipe left.
Okay.
It's just really important to me that you have some good iron on your feet. I met a mayor once who was just had some really poor horseshoes on. They fell off and
Swipe left.
Hey, my name's Troy. I have been hunting Sasquatches for the last 18 years. There's a reality show about it now on A&E.
Swipe right. I want to go on a date with this guy.
Yeah, so I hope you don't mind if we get this on camera. This is really kind of a first.
I'm all about filming anything, so this is just fantastic.
So,
Nice.
We see one in their natural habitat, the Denny's.
I thought that they were.
Dude.
Is that one right there?
Stop recording me. I'm just trying to enjoy my eggs. I've said it before.
Oh, this is embarrassing.
Well, I mean, we can always move over to the country kitchen.
I'm okay with that.
I'm leaving.
Related article. I'm just trying to enjoy my eggs. I'm just trying to enjoy my eggs was a book written by Bill Carlin McCarthy after frustration at his family over mornings where not once was Bill able to finish his morning breakfast. All the man wanted was
Disambiguation. I'm just trying to enjoy my eggs. I'm just trying to enjoy my eggs was a major anti-hysterectomy movement that occurred in New York in 1972. The hysterectomies had just come out, and a lot of women were having hysterectomies forced on them because it was 1972, and that kind of stuff happened.
To prepare for your hysterectomy, you've decided to undergo surgery on your uterus. This can be a valuable and rewarding decision, and so we at WikiHow have prepared a guide for you to be able to understand the best way to prepare for this complicated but ultimately common surgery. Step 1. While most people use soap and water, you can also use your tongue so that your natural germ-fighting bacteria in your mouth disinfects the rest of your body. Step 2. Leave notes for your pets. They'll miss you when they're waiting for you in the hospital. You'll be out soon, but they'll need to be comforted by the fact that you're still thinking of them while you're undergoing surgery. Step 3. Look beautiful on the day of This will help the doctors. Many people believe that doctors are less likely to let good-looking people die when they undergo surgery. This is almost a fact. Step 4. Don't worry if crowds gather to watch the surgery. It's normal.
Related article. Surgery beauticians. Much like people who prepare people for burial and make sure they look beautiful, surgery beauticians prepare people to go into surgery to ensure that doctors will find them attractive enough to not let them die. The first known surgery beautician was originated in 1932. They used a lot of natural products as makeup wasn't really big yet. They found things like charcoal and grass and dirt. So unfortunately, doctors didn't really find the people attractive enough to not let them die.
Click for video. Dr. Parkins, you have to let him live. I understand that he has upside down face, but I love him.
I mean, I guess I'll try my best, Mrs. Harris. You know, I mean, we have a lot
Your
of...
best. I demand nothing but your best for my sweet, sweet Carl upside down face. Yes, it's an unfortunate last name, but I'm planned on taking that last name when he's alive and well.
Yeah, well, look, I understand. You know, we'll do a lot for him, but you should see the chick they just rolled in here. I mean,
you take that back. I'm going to start I'm going to start a big thing outside of your office, and you're going to wish it was as easy as we just want to enjoy our eggs.
Related article. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with is a support group for people with commitment issues, and that has almost got a following. I'm gonna start. First started in 1992, then again in 1993, shortly for 1994, and then came back again after a short hiatus in 1998. I'm gonna start. Thinks they probably have a following of about 2.8 million, but nobody has clicked the subscribe button. Nobody has joined any meetings.
I think I have commitment issues. What should I do about it?
You
must
take
your
commitment
and
commit.
That seems straightforward enough. Alexa, is there a place where I can learn more about what commitment means?
The
internet
is
a
wonderful
place.
That is demonstrably untrue. Alexa, does Amazon ever give you disinformation to get people to spend more time on the internet?
No.
I'm even less convinced than before.
Related article. The internet is a wonderful place. The internet is a wonderful place was a campaign that was set out in 1994 as Netscape Navigator was just taking off. The internet is a wonderful, wonderful place was to entice children to come and play games on the internet. And this campaign was taken out by the federal government of the United States of America, who gave $20 billion.
New tab. 10 of the best games for your children to play to improve their brain function. Number 1, Tag. It's a healthy game that gets your kid outside.
New tab. Vegetable puns for kids. We're so glad that you will let us make these puns. for
jeez.
you, even though some people don't care it for puns at all. We find that some of them are corny, but kids like that. If a kid asks you a question, make sure that you don't leave him hanging and tell him a pun with vegetables today.
New tab. Preparing your public speech. Everyone knows that a good public speech often starts with a joke. However, many of the ones you probably know are not great ways to start. First of all, leave out all the puns because people get sick of those real fast. Also, a lot of jokes you probably know are real offensive. I mean, real offensive. Look, if you got to this site from the links that we think you took here, you should just forget all of the jokes that you know. Don't present them.
New tab. Offensive jokes. Oh. If you
Close
are trying
tab.
to improve.
So then he says, "That's my wife."
Close tab.
We're glad you turn up here at our site to hear some more of our jokes.
Close tab.
Number 134. Just don't have kids, okay? Don't have kids.
Oh, close tab.
Which ended up being purchased by Halliburton to brainwash the children into overcoming their addiction to the internet. This campaign was what?
Google how to break your internet addiction. So you have an internet addiction. You can't stop figuring out super cool things to find on Wikipedia. Here's a simple 4-step process to breaking that habit. Step number 1. Check yourself out in the mirror. One of the easiest ways to break an internet addiction is to be addicted to something else. What better addiction can you establish than addiction to yourself? Stare at yourself for a very, very long time. Enjoy who you are, both on the inside and the outside. This is the first step into breaking an internet addiction. Step number 2. Go out on a quest to find the mines of Moria and enjoy all the treasures deep therein. Problem is, you're going to get confused between 2 mountains, and that might actually be volcanic.
Disambiguation. Breaking in addiction. Breaking in addiction was a phenomenon in the late 20th century throughout Canada, where people were so addicted to breaking into people's homes and not taking anything. They just wanted the thrill of going somewhere where they weren't supposed to. And so there was this phenomenon that swept across the entire nation where people's houses were...
Breaking Jane's Addiction. Breaking Jane's Addiction is the alternate soundtrack for the cult breakdancing movie Breakin', recorded by the alternative band Jane's Addiction. Most people don't realize that the song "Ben Caught Stealin'" was designed to accompany Shabba-Doo during his climactic showdown with his opponent. The actual filmmakers used a track by Ice-T instead.
Disambiguation. Addiction to addition. Addiction to Addition was a school movement, educational movement that started in the mid-90s. With the success of DARE, they attempted to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone by turning kids away from drugs and towards math. Problem is, that's way too hard to do.
Google search. Alternative drug resistance programs.
Have you ever really tried yoga? I mean, really tried yoga.
Feels weird and cult-like. No thanks.
Kids, you don't want to be doing drugs. Just think of Barney the dinosaur and I'll be coming for you.
Oh, wow. Also weird and cult-like. No thanks.
Here at horribletrip.com, we guarantee that you will not do drugs again after you spend 1 week under our supervision. We guarantee that you will have the worst possible trip anyone could ever have, to the point that it would scare you away from ever considering something like this. Again, this does sound counterintuitive, and we have a 10% success rate. and 90% missing rate, but it works for those 10%.
Wow, gosh. I think you got me.
So we want to start off with, I want you to first imagine everyone around you is judging you all the time. They notice you every moment of every day. And they're thinking about that thing that you did, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks ago when you accidentally locked your keys in your car while your car engine was on. They're still thinking about that. This is just step one, being paranoid. Next step we got coming up is denying.
This is freaking me out, man. This is getting too real.
I am telling you, it works.
You do look a little like you're freaked out there. You look like maybe you're sweating just a little bit.
You
How
noticed?
did you know that? I was sweating last week too. Are you still thinking about the fact that I was sweating last week as well? What is happening right now?
Well, I also noticed you may want more drink there. Paranoia 83296.
I drank something last week.
And that's Wittypedia. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to our hosts, Bingewatch, for allowing us to be the and friends portion of this show. And now it's time for you to see the Bingewatch portion of the show. Let's give it up virtually for Bingewatch.
Oh, 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 oh.
Yes! Oh, let's hear it for Wittypedia.
So awesome. It's such a wonderfully unique form. It's such a great joy to watch.
Seamless. That's what this meant. I don't presume to know any sign language, and I certainly wasn't making a joke out of it. But that was my brain trying to go. There was just no, like, it
So
just
much happening.
flowed.
Exactly.
So good.
Although now I can't quit looking at my hands.
Dan, come back to me, Dan.
Yoga. Sorry. Anyways.
I'm still stuck up on the kinky hose situation.
Well, we all know about that, Diana.
Once again, for those in our live virtual studio audience, please give it up for Wittypedia. And for those watching later in the comfort of your home, well, everybody's in the comfort of their home these days, but for those watching later, you can find more awesome Wittypedia-ness on Facebook, and we'll tell you more about that at the end of the show. Dan,
You know what else folks are doing in the comfort of their own home?
What?
They're watching a lot of shows.
They are. They're binge watching, you might say.
Well, that'd be a catchy phrase.
I don't know. Maybe we should. Okay, I'm not even going to go there. Dan, we get to pick two fabulous shows, mash them together, and make a brand new show.
We've got some shows in our chat. We've also got some shows were given to us across Facebook earlier today. Diana, I think you have the list.
I do. Recently, I was just looking on the YouTube chat. I want to thank Geraldine Carolyn for Malcolm in the Middle. Thank you for that one. I'm going back to my list. Let's see. Jason Hayter gave us Treme. No, I'm totally wrong. I'm blowing this. See, Dan normally does the list, and I said, tonight, I'll do it. Ian Williams gave us The Witcher. Matt Cole gave us Treme. And Stacey Marshall gave us the one I'm going to pick. I know which one I'm going to pick.
And I also see that Falcon and the Winter Soldier is also available in there as well, thanks to Gil.
Yes, thank you, Gil. We love Gil. Gil's an amazing improviser, as is Ian and Geraldine and Matt and pretty much a lot of our fabulous.
Love Fest.
So much goodness going on all over the world. So
you have one that you want to do. So let's hear what your selection from the list is.
Disney weddings.
Okay, now give me a little bit of help with this. So are these like weddings at Disneyland, weddings of Disney characters?
Well, they're weddings that take place at all the various Disney properties. So they're fantasy weddings produced by Disney. And sometimes it's the actual wedding. Sometimes it's the proposal. And they're amazing. And oftentimes Disney characters play a prominent role. I've even seen flash mobs during.
Okay, well, we're always looking for things that are a high contrast. So I think of that list, well, I'm tempted to go Falcon Winter Soldier because I fucking love that. I freaking love that show. Well, I have to now put a thing on YouTube saying not available for kids. Let's go with The Witcher because that's about as opposite Disney princess as I can think of.
Now, I will be candid. I've not seen The Witcher, but I want to know about it, and I think you can shed some light.
I have because I've played the Witcher 3 video game and I've not read the novels, but I have also watched the first season. So it is a kind of Games of Thrones type quasi medieval world of magic and a lot of mud. For the most part, in which you've got different factional kingdoms are struggling with each other politically. And in the midst of this, you have the Witcher, Geralt of Rivia, who is a very long-lived monster hunter, who is just trying to get by, but keeps getting pulled into these much larger affairs. You've also got Yennefer, who is one of the witches, because there are various magic users who usually have very high stations in society.
Okay.
But they're all going through this political turmoil as the Southern Kingdom is trying to conquer everything else. And also dealing with a young girl who is a princess of one of the kingdoms who's on the run because she has elder blood and an unspeakable power that may save everyone or may destroy the world. So that's an extremely short encapsulation of the mythology of The Witcher.
Okay, I just have one follow-up question. So Witchers are monster hunters.
Witchers are monster hunters, yes.
And
They're
monsters in
preternaturally-
the eye of the beholder, or are there specific monsters?
Oh no, monsters are very much agreed upon. Monsters are horrifying.
Okay. All right.
Monsters can be as a result of curses. They can be pan-dimensional beings. Elves are second-class citizens, but there are elves from a different dimension that like basically ride in the sky and just obliterate everybody. I mean, it's a very dangerous, very bloody, very muddy world.
So it's like people who don't have a park hop pass. They're kind of like, paying by their, I don't know. I think there's like tiers of, I haven't been to Disneyland since there were e-tickets, which shows how old I am. But I think there are tiers. So I think, there's also that in the world of The Witcher with these second-class citizens.
Oh, very much so.
All right. Well, please enjoy the very first and maybe last only episode of
Monster Love.
Ooh. Bippity boppity damn. I got assigned another wedding. First fairy godmother, now all I do is weddings. I used to drain swamps, clear up bogs, cure people of the pox. But now all I do is schedule weddings.
Sounds very difficult for you.
I suppose based on what you do for a living, I should probably stop complaining.
We all have our difficulties in life. You have to deal with brides.
Who on a
parents
normal day
of brides.
are lovely people, but they turn into, well, what you spend your life searching for.
That's because of the curses. You get people together at a wedding. Sooner or later, someone's going to offend somebody else. Swords will be drawn, alcohol will be spilled, blood will be spilled, and then somebody curses the bride or the groom or the second cousin. And next thing you know, they're growing extra long teeth and fur and scales, and that's where I come in.
Well, I was at a wedding 2 weeks ago. The bride was less than true.
I don't really care for these old-fashioned moralities of true or false brides. Hey, as long as they're happy, who really cares?
Oh, and that's where I come in. My job is happily ever after. Happily ever after. Happily ever after. I don't believe in happily ever after anymore. I was hoping. I saw you standing here next to the shrimp display, and I decided maybe, if anyone, an individual who spent their life hunting down the worst that roams the world, could help me see happily ever after again.
You wouldn't be the first useless person who's tagged along with me.
Useless? Why, I make beautiful things happen. Or I did. Okay, fine, I'll take the moniker. Useless it is.
Look, I've got a contract. I've got to go to this castle. It's Sleeping Beauty's castle is what they call it.
Aurora?
Oh, you're familiar with the royal family?
Of course. Why, I have a scroll a mile long with the names of all the royals. If we're going to the castle, I need to touch up my lipstick.
We're not going there for a party. We're going there to break a curse. And breaking that curse can get very ugly very fast, so...
It's in the Fairy Godmother rule book. If you're going to go out in public, you simply must look your best.
Magic users. I've never much trusted your kind.
All right. I'll be honest. I'll passive cross time and again, and while I've never sat down and had a real conversation with you until today, because frankly, monster hunting is messy and, well, frankly, gross. But I know some things about you. I know that one of your greatest sadnesses is that you will never father a child.
You should try to forget things so you have no business in. Get your horse ready. We have a journey to get on.
Am I supposed to get on the back of that?
No.
Well, good.
You
because
have a
I have
horse
a
of
pumpkin.
your own.
Well, I have a pumpkin. What I'm missing are some mice or a rabbit or something that I can transmogrify into a horse to lead my carriage. Or I suppose I could just use my magic for myself.
Get on.
Oh, good. I've always wanted to ride on the back of one. You know, it's always the princesses that get to ride on the back of a steed, clutching on to the hard abs of a fabulous, gentle person. You know, when you look at me like that, I almost feel human.
Yeah.
Ah!
Well, I do say, we need to take care of this before the wedding starts. I mean, we can't have a bride who's comatose, for crying out loud. It's just not done. It's just quite simply not done.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, I tried all sorts of things. I tried poking her with an umbrella, and I tried singing her favourite song. I'm a terrible nursemaid. I'm terribly sorry.
Well, the problem is that the king has called in a witcher. He's fairly certain that the princess has been put to sleep due to a curse, and no one can break a curse quite like a witcher.
Witcher sounds like a bad word that you need to put some money in the swear jar.
Well, you know, they're not very nice people, generally speaking. Whenever they arrive someplace, there tends to be a whole lot of blood and gore and lots of mud. I don't know why they're always so dirty. You'd think they'd have baths wherever they come from.
Mud? Oh dear. Oh dear. Mrs. Martians is not going to like that because she's just cleaned the front hall.
Well, you know, I'm not so concerned about the mud getting on the floor as there being lots of blood all over the curtains, but we each have our own areas of expertise, I understand.
Although, to be fair, blood is much harder to get out than mud.
It is, generally speaking, it is more stainy, if you will.
But
I was thinking...
Before we deal with the things at hand, oh, you were thinking...
I was thinking. I know it's not in my job description, but I did think it might be useful in this instance.
Say.
I was thinking that if we could figure out the curse before the Witcher gets here, we could wake her up for the wedding, and then he could just go away.
Oh. So you're saying, take matters into our own hands?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we are highly skilled servants of the crown. I mean, we have a certain elan.
A what?
Elan. It's like elegance. It's a certain je ne sais quoi. It's a certain...
That's French. I know that one.
Yes, I know, which is rather odd given there's no France in this world, but France kind of goes across all dimensions and all places and all times.
Is elan also French?
I do believe so, yes.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing, is that they don't tell anyone.
Secrets, I adore secrets.
I've been doing a bit of dabbling in magic.
Dabbling in magic.
A little bit, yes. It does
Say?
involve lots of killing of small animals and rearranging their bones, but it's surprisingly effective.
Did you say killing small animals and rearranging their bones?
Yes.
In patterns?
Yeah, of course, in patterns. You wouldn't arrange them, I don't know, as letters or whatever. You have to create patterns that vibrate with the nature of the universe. Or so I understand. I mean, I've been doing an awful lot of watching of the court mage.
Oh, so you simply have been stealing tricks from the court mage and you've no idea if they're going to work at all.
Well, of course not, but we have to find out, don't we? And we can't involve him, and we certainly can't involve, the ambassador from the School of Witches. You know how terrifying she can be.
Oh.
If they get involved, it'll become very political.
I don't see how this could possibly go wrong.
Wonderful. So I think I would be willing to get some small animals, if there's anything that you could get from your stores.
Well,
You could spread them around the bedchamber and see if anything vibrates.
All right, just let me recap. I'm very fond of recapping because it makes me feel I know I'm about myself, right? So you're going to find small animals, rodents, maybe a chicken.
I've got a few right here, actually. Yes, so that's.
Leave them into your pocket. Thank you. I wondered why your pocket was moving. I really had hoped it was your heart beating.
No, it's all right. It's okay. No, that took care of it. Yes.
Doesn't your heart feel anything?
Well, it's not allowed to because I'm in service.
That's true. I once had a fellow, but I had to choose between him and my illustrious career here at the castle. Second chambermaid.
You chose this over him.
Well, yes.
How long ago was this? Was this fairly recent?
Well, recent's a relative term.
I'm just wondering. See, the thing is that if the princess doesn't get married and she falls into a deep slumber that may last forever, then there'll be less need for, well, you or me. Somebody with an agenda might hire someone to place a curse that would free us, and more particularly you, up and make you more available to,
Are you telling me a beau that I threw over from work would go to these lengths to get me to marry him? Oh, that's true love indeed. I can see us having a perfect wedding. If I'd known, if I'd realized, if he'd proposed in some wonderful way, like taking me to a glacier and writing "Marry Me" in the snow, or, I don't know, taking me to the Tree of Life and having it light up and sing for me, or placing a princess into a deep, eternal slumber in her own castle, well, I might have taken his suitorship much more seriously.
Well, the only problem is that these curses, if they're not done just right, often go wrong. Who knows? The entire castle might fall asleep. The entire countryside might fall into a deep slumber. We might all end up just lying here on the ground to be eaten by rats. I know the rats would also fall asleep, so that'd be fine. But then the fleas would also fall asleep. So I think everything might fall asleep.
I just love the way your mind works. It's like opening scroll after scroll after scroll of information, almost as if there was some magical device that allowed you to go from one topic to another.
One would think so, but it only works for things that are bad. It's a certain kind of, I don't know, like a doom scroll. But we've gone far afield.
I've heard that name before, but they were a band and they played the last do here at the castle.
Indeed. We need to find some way of confirming whether or not this is coming from the princess or if it's tied to you.
Me personally, not me really, but my soon-to-be betrothed, if I can get him to forgive me, cancel the curse and then ask me to marry him again.
If you really want to marry somebody who would throw the entire kingdom into pain and suffering just to get back at you, well, you do you.
Well, you see, proposals are a funny thing. I'll tell you this in case you ever want to propose to someone. We want someone, we, the person being asked, by the person asking, we want someone to go to ridiculous lengths, put themselves out, spend far too much money, and get down on one knee and ask us, in the middle of chaos and mayhem, a bunch of people singing and dancing, perhaps.
Very good. Do you want to tell me about the beauties of love while I go ahead and begin spreading these dead animals around the princess's body?
I would be thrilled to. Oh,
Certainly.
and also, it's very nice if they remember the favorite color that you like. Like, I don't know, I'm very fond of ranunculus, yellow ones, you know. And, oh, hold on. I just remembered something.
Yes?
Well, my suitor, the groom, well, hopefully he'll become a groom, but no, I mean, he works in the stables. Are you working up a sweat?
Blood.
Oh! Wait a minute, come a little closer. Are you marking yourself for protection with that blood?
Yes, of course.
I want some.
Well, but the thing is that you might be part of the curse, and I can't very well protect you if you're part of the curse.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that it's possible that if you activate this curse, simply because I was an innocent person who was beloved, I might be destroyed?
I must say, I think we're both adults of the world, and we can both acknowledge the fact that there are no innocent people. Truly.
That makes you culpable as well.
Well,
After
no,
all, you did just slaughter a whole barnyard full of tiny creatures.
Well, I did. You know, and
I
think
would like to see a little remorse on your part, first of all.
Well, I do feel a little bad because, weirdly enough, and this is quite odd, several of the mice that I had to snap their little necks in half to go ahead and do this, they were wearing little shirts, little hats.
Really?
It's very odd indeed.
Oh dear. Oh, that sounds like the work of a second-rate fairy godmother. Sometimes I've been reading in the trades. There was a time I thought about becoming a fairy godmother. It runs in my family. Yes, I'm not entirely without magical abilities, although pretty much the only thing I can actually do is change sugar cubes from squares into rounds. No one wants a sugar round. It just sounds funny. But I digress. Sometimes they will, instead of turning mice into footmen, they will turn footmen into mice.
Have you noticed the fact that all of the bones are now pointing in your direction?
Well, I hadn't, because I was busy talking, but now that you mention it...
Yes. I think we can definitely say that you're a part of this.
Well, how do I unbecome a part of this?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we need to get your bow. I think we'll need to go to the stable, possibly with a pitchfork or a kitchen knife.
Well, he'll be out there with the blacksmith's son.
See if you can lure him off by himself. It'll be easier to convince him to lift the curse if he's not surrounded by burly people.
So I should go get the blacksmith's son.
No, you should get your bow away from the blacksmith's son.
But he's not happy with me right now. I think perhaps you should talk to him.
Why on earth would he talk to me?
Well, why wouldn't he? You're relatively pleasant, except for the blood smeared all over your face right now.
It's magical.
Fine. Magical schmagical.
Oh, my queen. I feel a dark mood falling upon me.
My lord, now is not the time for you to fall into one of your humours. Our daughter lies slumbering, and we know not for how long. And why? Why did this happen? Because you refused to invite Maleficent to the wedding.
Blame not me for some other party's temperament. Had I invited such a person, or any of the magical ilk, this would have turned into a complete bloodbath, and you do know it. For wherever they do go, pain and suffering does follow. My queen,
My lord.
I come to you in this hour, not as your king, not as your lord, but as the father of your child, as you are the mother of mine.
Sire of my own issuance.
My queen,
God, you're handsome.
And you are as beautiful as you were the first time I saw you.
We both know that's a lie, but I appreciate that you put it forward.
Darling, I fear what may come. You know that the princelings from the various kingdoms are assembling at our very doorstep, each clamoring to be the groom for our bride.
I know.
And if she is not cognizant of her surroundings, it will make things very difficult.
Wait a moment. I was consulting this birch and a slice of the old birch tree, the tree of wisdom in the courtyard. And truth be told, you might be the exception, but most men don't really care about what their wife has to say.
No, I care a great deal. It just always makes me uncomfortable when you address your elven heritage. It is, as you know, the great secret of our kingdom that you are 1/25th elven.
And I am proud to be 1/25.
Not too proud, for that pride could result in our being absorbed to the Nilfgaardian horde.
Well, when
I
you put it
love
that
you
way, it
as
doesn't
you
sound
are.
good. I'm
does
sorry,
not.
darling. I spoke over you yet again.
I love you as you are. And my concern for your heritage is nothing except for what it means to the state.
I had a ridiculous idea that we could just sort of prop her up and let the men parade by and say that she was deep in thought, and they wouldn't really know until, after the deed was done, and then we'd have another option. But that's ridiculous. It's like I was reading some scroll of ridiculous entertainment or a silly troubadour's tune.
Is this what you pulled from that piece of wood? Is this the plan that came to you from what you
No,
hold
it
in your hand?
simply was the words that begat the plan. The words being, man listens not to the voice of his wife, he only listens to his heart through their life.
I thought
Bad rhymes, but the point was clear.
No, I thought it was a dig against me, but now when I see it's actually quite sweet towards the end.
Yes.
Not altogether unlike our relationship, darling.
Sweet to the end. As long as we get to live to the end. I hear tell, because people talk. One is on his way here.
Yes, I have sent for the Witcher.
With a most unlikely companion.
I did not call for more than one.
Well, it seems a second-rate fairy godmother hitched a ride.
More magic users. I am plagued with them. The court mage, the ambassador from the witches. My own wife pulling upon her elvish history. I feel I am steeped in the unnatural.
Then you
As
probably
well-
don't want to hear that one of our footmen has tried to do a rune from the bones of tiny rodents in our daughter's slumber chamber.
Eglamour, yes?
Aided and abetted by the second chambermaid.
We have lost control, my queen.
Darling, we've never had it.
Never let those words escape this bedchamber, or it will be our heads, you realize that. We must at least appear to be in control of the situation.
As long as you are in control of my heart, I go forward.
As you are of mine. I live and die by the look in your eye, my darling.
I live and die by other things, but they all have to do with you.
Let us meet our visitor, for the Witcher should be here by mealtime.
I hear he is unable to sire.
No, what has been done to his body to allow him to move with preternatural speed, to have incredible strength and focus, hath changed him. He will live beyond us all, but he will not have an issue.
I must say, I wonder if that's better, to not be able to bear children, for to lose them or watch them hurt is so painful.
We shall wake her, my darling. The Witcher will find a way. It's what he does.
Very well. We must haste to the chamber to greet.
Oh, that horse is dreadful. Yes. My God.
You talked the entire way here. That was a 3-day ride.
Thank you. I was brought up to believe that you should be there for the enjoyment and entertainment of others. I did manage to bring the cherry blossoms into bloom along the way, and there was a lovely riot of pink.
It was an impressive bit of transfiguration magic.
I must say, holding on to your torso as we rode was the thrill of my life. I don't know how you keep your abdomen so very taut. It's like a drum. I wanted to bounce things off of it.
Mostly drugs.
Oh.
Witches require certain potions in order to allow them to reach their peak abilities in moments of intense stress.
You know.
It also tends to really work the abs.
Well, it's working for me, but I digress. I believe when all this is over, my powers as a first-rate, second-rate fairy godmother, and your abilities as a, what's it called, witcher, why, we could set everything to rights.
Look, Yuli, I just need your help determining the origin of this curse. It could be a half-dozen things.
One.
It could be placed on by a jealous lover or somebody who intentionally placed it. It could be the result of a hidden miscarriage.
Two.
It could also be the result of vampirism gone wrong.
Three.
She could have also fallen prey to a Baba Yaga.
Four. I have no idea what that is.
Let's just say it lives in a house with chicken feet, and it very much likes the blood of children.
That's dreadful. What's five?
I am guessing it's one of these. They are the
You
most
said there was
likely.
half a dozen, and now I'll be up all night trying to figure out what the other two were.
The other would be a long-standing dark curse brought about to oneself.
Oh my. And finally six?
Well, that would be number 6. You had 5
No,
before
you had
that.
5. You said half dozen. I want the sixth one.
You are entirely too literal. About a half dozen indicates more than a couple. Regardless,
No, I do believe half dozen is literally 6, because a dozen is 12, but a baker's dozen is 13. And of course, if you say a pair, that's 2. A few is more than 2, but not necessarily stopping at 3. But half a dozen is very, very, very specific.
I could just kill you and just call the whole thing a loss.
Don't be silly. I'm magical. You can't do that. But you wish you could.
Here comes the king
How
and
much
the
I
queen.
enjoy your abdomen.
Let's go meet the royals,
Yes.
which we would do in episode 2. Maybe next time.
Because that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Diana Brown. With me is Dan Wilson, and together we are...
Bingewatch. And thank you so much for enjoying our Disney-fied Witcher or Witcher-fied Disney. I'm not entirely sure which way that went.
Yes. Let's get our wonderful guests, the troupe Wittypedia improv comedy show, back on the screen. Oh, they are incredible. Thank you so much for being with us, Wittypedia. Now, people who have never had the amazing experience of seeing you want more. They're like a gateway drug, Dan, to more improv awesome. So where can they find you?
Easiest place will be to check out the Wittypedia Improv Comedy Show on Facebook. That's where we post all our upcoming events.
Wonderful. And even though we can read your names, it's so much fun to hear you say them out loud. So in no particular order, just say your names once again for the beautiful people watching.
I'm
Michael
Karen
Wittypedia.
Manthe.
I created chaos.
I'm Austin Von Johnson.
I'm Amanda Harden.
I'm Ian.
Sonia.
And we are honored that you were with us. Thank you so much for watching. Please do as Dan suggests. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe to Wittypedia as well. And until we see you again, please be kind to each other, stay safe, and keep binge watching.